Good morning, afternoon, evening, whatever it is, wherever you are. Mike and Arlen, our Philippine journey, thank you so much for dropping by. We certainly appreciate it. Viewers, subscribers, watchers, trolls, whoever. It doesn't really matter to us. Okay? Tourism. Why is it important? The latest numbers are out. In other words, the Philippine government has now published the January through April numbers for tourism here. And I think that it's interesting, number one. Number two, it certainly contradicts a good number of what you're seeing in other YouTube channels. And number three, there are some kind of shocking results. So let's just talk about it, okay?
Why'd you have to go? I guess this world's too slow for you. I think there's beauty in the gray, the cold, but you just want the gold. And there's no way I can beat it, cause I got no chance, no chance when it comes to her. She got the glitter and the fame, and I just wasn't enough.
All right. So in the link below, I will give a copy of, I'll place a link in the about section below that has, will take you to the Philippine corporate website. And you can look at the corporate numbers, corporate announcements, and then under that, you'll look at demand statistics, and it'll give you 10 plus years of tourism statistics. But I kind of condensed it, I put it down, and, because what we hear all the time is tourism is down. The bars aren't what they used to be. The restaurants aren't what they used to be. The this, the that, the other. It's just going down, and we're getting less and less tourists. But what I was more focused on was, where did we go in the last 30 days? Because I expected, as I'm sure many of you, that the tourist numbers for April would be significantly down given the Middle East conflict, price of fuel, the price of jet fuel, because almost 99.9% of all the tourists that come to the Philippines come by air. So I thought, you know what? Let's just take a look at the latest numbers. And they just came out a couple days ago. So let's look here. All right. And so why is this important? That's the first thing. Well, based on the 2025 forecast in 2024 data, tourism is a major pillar of the Philippines economy, with the World Travel and Tourism Council projecting it could contribute over 21%, 1/5 of the national GDP in 2025. Now, that copy paste from the PSA came from a circular in 2024. All right. So the Philippine Statistic Authority. And in 2024, the tourism number was 8.9% of GDP. So that was projecting a huge bump. Well, based on the 2025 World Travel and WTTC Economic Impact Report, the Philippines ranked first in terms of tourism CDP capped value at 91.8 billion, the highest in ASEAN, surpassing other major regional tourism. And there's something about that you need to read between the lines in just a minute. But the other important part was tourism accounted for, because now this is an updated number, tourism accounts for 19.9% of the Philippine economy. Now, why do they say it's capped? If you look, the tourism numbers, far more tourists, Thailand, Cambodia, Vietnam, all over. Well, because it's a part of GDP, and because, believe it or not, the Philippines is actually a much poorer country than those other countries. And that's why it ranks so high. But you know what? Let's just take a look at the actual numbers themselves. Okay, so this is what it looks like. And I know you can't read that, but there's a statement down at the bottom that says, oh, we incorporated this, this, and this. And you should know that in 2026, they've changed it. They used to show foreign nationals as one group and everybody else, not nationals, all right, as another group, and then a grand total of the two. Now they've incorporated both of them now that e-travel is fully incorporated. Okay, so I just thought I'd throw that there. That's down there. You can zoom in that. You can go to the website and look it up. All right. Now, keep in mind that these numbers come from e-travel. They specifically state that. So it includes both nationals and non-nationals. All right. So that means it's going to include all arrivals, OFW, merchant marine, etc. It does not distinguish between permanent residents and non-permanent residents. The only people that don't get counted are those people that come on diplomatic visas, all right, or on specific work visas, all right. Those are visas that they've obtained a work visa for. Everybody else, e-travel, doesn't differentiate between the two. But that makes sense when you think about it. Most foreign nationals, most Filipinos, okay, they are going to be here as tourists. They're coming as tourists. All right, the vast majority. You know, it's not like the olden days where there's tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of OFWs living in other countries, all right, and working. I mean, the nurses, yeah, there's a lot of those, but domestics and labor and stuff like that, those numbers have gone way, way, way down over the years. Okay, so let's take a look at South Korea, number one on the list. Now, South Korea has seen a big drop, 6.18%. And we're going to give you totals and everything else with everybody. Oh, you know what? Let us go right back up here just a second. The total, top right-hand corner. Contrary to what many other channels are putting out, everybody's whining and crying. Tourism is down. You know, the Philippine dream is dead. People aren't coming. It's up. Same period of time last year, 8.9%. So that's just not true. Absolutely not true. But if we look at by country, so the number one tourism entry is South Korea, but it's down by 6.18%. All right. Number two, the United States, up 7.45%. I would have thought that some other numbers, we would be seeing some other numbers. I'll go into this. All right. But Japan, up by 8.7%. China, up 61.73%. Well, that's because they made some changes in Chinese visas, and China made some changes, worked out a deal, because for a while China wasn't allowing mainland Chinese to come to the Philippines. Now they are. All right, so that's picking back up. All right. Australia's up 14.38%. Canada up 18.47%. Taiwan up 14.75%. And the United Kingdom, number 8 on the list, up 3%. And that's kind of understandable as well. I mean, I think we see the decline in the U.S., or the number not as the growth number not as big in the U.S. and in the UK, only mostly because there's a lot of economic turmoil going on. Flight prices have gone up significantly, but they're still up. So here's what's interesting. So if the year to date total is 2,295,426, and we take the top 10, South Korea, United States, Japan, China, Australia, Canada, Taiwan, United Kingdom, Singapore, France, and there's the totals, okay? We take those. So the total of the top 10 is 1,755,129. And again, the all combined total, all countries, 2,295,426 for this period of time. All right, the 4 months. All right, the United States and South Korea total, combined total, January through April, 874,504. Okay, so of the top 10, two countries, just two, represent 49.83% of all the tourists. Okay? And actually, if you don't count Filipinos, it counts for even more, but we can't get that number. Then in the US and South Korea, when you look at the entire number spread all the way across all countries, 38.10%. So United States and Korea, I mean, we really represent a huge amount, and it's not a big deal. It doesn't matter, where the tourists come from. Only matters that there's tourists. Okay, that's a good deal. Now, where are they going? Well, all right. I got to be honest with you. There's no way to track it. There's no way to know where they're coming from, okay, or where they're visiting. All right, the Philippines does not track hotel check-ins by passport. They don't do that. There's no methodology for that. I from all of our friends that have been to Boracay in the past 6 months, they say Boracay is still slammed, absolutely slammed. Okay, but where else? We don't know. But are they coming to Angeles City? Well, no, I don't think so. I think tourism in Angeles City is down. Let's be honest for just a few minutes. Let's just be really honest. I never saw and still do not see Angeles City as a tourist destination. It's certainly not tropical. It's certainly not beachfront. It certainly doesn't have a lot of real exciting tourist events. All right, now there are a lot of the balloon fest, the racetrack, all right, things like that. But when it comes to tourism, it's not one of the things places that you see that people are going to a tropical island to. It is a place. I think, and there are no numbers to support this. I still believe that Angeles City is probably the number one destination for expat retirement outside of the metro Manila area. Because, between BGC, all right, Alabang, Makati, but when you exclude all of those, when you exclude the metro Manila area, I think Angeles is very, very close to that, or very close number two. It has a number of advantages as an expat retirement destination for some. Some people are not going to want the city life. Some people are not going to want the trash. Some people are not going to want the noise, you know. But on the other hand, some people, they like having 15, pretty much from anywhere in Angeles City, you can be door to door to Clark International Airport in 20 minutes from the furthest point. Okay. From, with respect to malls, doctors, all kinds of amenities, it is what it is. It lends itself to that. With respect to real estate investment, I wish I could give you a decent relative idea, but I've never been a real estate investor type of person. I've never bought houses just to flip houses or bought property just to flip property. That's just not something that I did. And so I'd be lying to you if I said, oh, it makes sense to do this or to do that. I have no idea. I know this. I know that there's a lot of construction going on. There's a lot of condos still being built, a lot of home development still being done. But we see businesses that open and close as different business left and right. So I don't know. So, I mean, if you're just looking to come party for 4 or 5 days or something like that, well, that's what Angeles is known for. One of the things that it's known for. Not our lifestyle, not our gig, but for many people, they're coming to blow off steam and have a good time. No different than, if you're in the UK and you go to Ibiza or some of the other places. I mean, although people do retire in those general areas, but you get my drift. You get my understanding. So those numbers are positive. You see all of these channels that are saying, hey, you know what? Tourism is down. There's not as many tourists. The Philippines has all these problems. Well, yeah, the Philippines has problems. Okay? Its infrastructure is difficult. Its regulations are selectively enforced. Like every emerging economy, it is what it is. But tourism is not down so far. Now, next month will be really telling. That's when we're going to see, I think, where the price of jet fuel has made a significant impact. Only because airlines buy their fuel months and months and months in advance. And so, they may not have had time for the pricing and everything else to make changes. So we'll see. We will absolutely see. I don't know. But if you live in the Philippines or you've just recently visited the Philippines and you got a feel for what you felt tourism is like compared to what it was like, and now we're not talking pre-pandemic because the Philippines has never recovered from its pre-pandemic numbers. We're still down 20% below the 2019 tourism numbers, grand totals. The Philippines never recovered from that. But how was tourism where you were? What are you seeing? Did you see a influx? Did you see a number? I don't know. Tell us what you think. All right. In the meantime, please do subscribe, hit the thumbs up, and don't forget the notify bell. All right. We wish you a great, safe day.